Hello and welcome back. Welcome to a new edition of Vaughan and Vivo. My name's Richard Vaughan and my job is to teach. And to teach you is my objective, which means you are my target. Mi blanco eres tú. You are my target. Y con mis dardos. Bueno, no son dardos, son flechas. With my darts, no. Darts, no. My arrows, whew, I will shoot arrows at you. Teaching arrows. And if they penetrate properly, you will learn. If they don't penetrate properly, then you won't learn. And these arrows are called motivation arrows. These are arrows of motivation and perhaps inspiration. And they're very sharp. Wow, they're very, very sharp. I spend a lot of time at night at home sharpening my arrows to make sure they perforate your armor, tu armadura, tu coraza, tu escudo protector. Because you have a protective shield. Shield es un escudo. Windshield in America es parabrisas, escudo contra el viento. Los británicos dicen windscreen. But the knights, los caballeros de lanza, de arma, de espada y de escudo, these are shields. Okay? And you have a protective shield. It's not easy to perforate. But I spend every evening sharpening mis armas de seducción. Pero seducción de ti. En cuanto a motivación, inspiración. These are inspirational weapons. But they need to be very sharp. So I spend my time, when I'm watching TV at night, relaxing, my wife says, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, what do you think?" As usual, I'm sharpening my weapons, mis armas, my weapons, okay? And when they're really sharp, wow, they're really, really sharp, then I put them in my case, I bring them here, and I pull out an arrow and my bow. I string the arrow, usando la palabra cuerda como un verbo, to string. Then I pull, and I shoot at you, trying to perforate, to penetrate your protective shield. And for some of you it's possible, for others it's not. Your shield is too strong, too thick, muy grueso. And not even the best inspirational arrows can penetrate. Especially if you're lazy by nature, por naturaleza, by nature, lo digo mucho en esta clase. Or if you're cynical by nature or proud, soberbio by nature, then your protective shield is too strong for me. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do for you. All right. Number one, vas a engordar si sigues comiendo así. You're going to get fat if you keep eating like that. Come on. You're eating like a pig. Come on. You eat a heavy breakfast, a heavy lunch, and a heavy dinner. Heavy, pesado. Tiene varios significados. Heavy means profundo, cuando es música, la música heavy. Heavy metal, it's heavy. Qué profundo. Wow. That's cool, man. That's heavy. All right. Heavy also means pesado de peso. Peso es mucho. Yo peso. I weigh 85 kilos, so I'm a bit heavy. If you want to carry me, it's not so easy because I weigh 85 kilos. So I'm a little bit heavy. This table is really heavy. If I try to lift this table, I can't. It's too heavy for me. I'm not strong enough because it's too heavy. If the table were lighter, if this table were, si fuera más ligera la mesa, if this table were lighter, I could lift it, or I would be able to lift it. But it's not light, it's heavy. Heavy, heavy, heavy. Y vas a engordar si sigues comiendo tanta comida pesada. You're going to get fat if you keep eating so much heavy food. If you keep eating so much. Si sigues comiendo tanto pan, if you keep eating so much bread, you're going to get fat. Si sigues comiendo tantas galletas, if you keep eating so many cookies or biscuits, los americanos y canadienses, cookies para galletas. Los británicos y irlandeses, biscuits. Sin embargo, el monstruo de las galletas is the Cookie Monster. Y hasta los británicos dicen Cookie Monster. They don't say Biscuit Monster. The cookies, if you keep eating so many cookies, you're going to get fat. Come on. If you keep eating so many cookies, you're going to fijaos lo rápido que lo puedo decir. If you keep eating so many cookies, you're going to get fat. Yeah. I can see, I can tell. Tell is percibir. I can tell you're gaining weight. You've gained at least 3 kilos in the past month because you're eating so much fatty food. Come on, comida grasa. Fatty, como gordo, doblando la T y con Y es comida grasa. Fatty food, I don't recommend it. So, vas a engordar si sigues comiendo tanto. You're going to get fat if you keep eating. To keep, lo he dicho en otras ocasiones, que siempre guardar o mantener también es seguir R que R. Se dice keep. ¿Por qué sigues mirándome así? Why do you keep looking at that? Why do you keep looking at me like that? You're making me nervous. Cuando alguien te pone nervioso, se usa el verbo make. Me estás haciendo nervioso es lo que decimos en inglés. Para me estás poniendo nervioso. Ahora, yo me estoy poniendo nervioso. I'm getting nervous because you're making me nervous. Would you mind looking at me in a different way? Why do you keep looking at me like that? Why do you keep sitting there looking at me with your mouth open? Close your mouth. There are a lot of flies in Spain. Close your mouth. Okay. Stop looking at me like you're in a trance, okay? You keep looking at me like you're in a trance and it's making me nervous. I'm sorry. ¿Por qué sigues comiendo tantas galletas? Why do you keep eating so many? Why do you keep? Aquí no decimos keep on. Keep on es cuando quiero que continúes. Go, keep on doing it. Ahora, cuando es R que R, mantienes una cosa, you keep. Why do you keep criticizing my program? Look, how much are you paying for this program? What does it cost? How much am I charging you? How much am I? ¿Cuánto te estoy cobrando por esto? How much am I charging you for this? Come on, tell me. Nothing. I'm not charging you anything. Uy, casi digo una doble negación. I'm not charging you anything. I'm charging you nothing. Which means that you have no reason to complain. A caballo regalado no se le mira el diente. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. En inglés no mires un caballo regalo en la boca. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. This program is free for you. I accept no complaints, no criticism. It's not allowed. So stop criticizing. Why do you keep trying to find defects in this program? I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing the best I can. I'm teaching this class to the best of my ability. Y encima, and on top of that, you criticize. And you keep criticizing. R que R, criticándome. You keep criticizing and keep criticizing and keep criticizing and you never stop. Ya es hora de que pares. It's about time you stop. It's about time. La expresión it is, pero la contracción es obligatoria aquí, porque es una frase hecha. It's about time. Literalmente, no tiene ningún sentido. Es acerca del tiempo. It's about time es ya es hora, o ya era hora. It's about time, ya es hora de que pares. It's about time you stop. I'm tired of hearing your complaints. I'm tired of hearing your cynical comments. I have no patience for that. My job is to teach, your job is to learn, and you're not doing your job. I'm doing mine. I'm giving my 50%. I'm giving my 100%. I expect the same from you. Esto es, espero mucho de ti. I expect a lot from you. I expect a lot. I expect effort from you. Yeah, I expect a lot. That's the next sentence. All right, so stop criticizing. I don't like you to keep criticizing and criticizing, okay? The next one. ¿Quieres que venga? ¿Quieres que vengan? Do you want them to come? Pepe y María, do you want them to come? Well, no vendrán si no les llamas. They won't come if you don't call them. They won't come, they won't. La contracción de will not. Won't. Don't. Quitas la D, pones un doble D. Won't. It's difficult for you to say, but you need to practice. They won't come if you don't call them. So go to the phone or take out your cell phone and call them, okay? It's so simple. They are a telephone call away. Están a golpe de teléfono. Golpe de una llamada telefónica. They're a telephone call away. Why don't you call them? They won't come unless you call them. No vendrán, no sé que les llames. They won't come unless you call them. They won't come if you don't call them. Es curioso, el unless se dice en afirmativo después y if se dice negativo. It's the same in Spanish. Bueno, in Spanish it's interesting. Listen, no vendrán si no les llamas, okay? It's the same in English and in Spanish. They won't come if you don't call them. Ahora, no vendrán a no ser que les llames. They won't come unless you call them. Okay? And in Spanish, I think you can say, a no ser que no les llames, no vendrán. You can say it in the negative and the affirmative. But in English, they won't come unless you call them. So, ¿por qué no les llamas? Why don't you call them? Why don't you call them? In fact, I know they're at home waiting for you to call them because you invited them to come to this television studio and to watch. And they thought it was a wonderful idea, and they're looking forward to coming, and they're simply waiting for your call. All right. El mundo se está haciendo más pequeño. The world is getting smaller and smaller. Okay, the population is growing, but the world is getting smaller. Transportation, communication, foreign trade, comercio exterior, the world is getting smaller. But now the world is falling into a deep and prolonged recession. And usually in these cases, the world doesn't get smaller, the world gets bigger. Because during hard times, many countries decide to look inward and not outward, and decide to protect their national economies, to build barriers to trade, barreras al comercio, and it creates more recession. So the world is getting smaller. Se está haciendo más pequeño. Usa el verbo to get. The world is getting smaller. Maybe not right now, but in general, in the long term, the world is getting smaller and smaller. Okay, ¿cuándo lo vas a hacer? When are you going to do it? I'm going to do it tomorrow morning. When are you going to do it? When are you planning to do it? When are you going to do it es cuando lo vas a hacer. When are you planning to do it es cuando piensas hacerlo. El verbo pensar en español. Pensar is to think. Estoy pensando. I'm thinking. Estoy pensando, meditando sobre esta posibilidad. I'm thinking about this possibility. Pero también utilizáis pensar, que no es realmente un proceso de reflexión o meditación. Cuando decís, ¿cuándo piensas llamarle? Pues pienso llamarle al término de esta clase. Esto no es una meditación o reflexión. Eso es un plan. Cuando alguien dice ¿cuándo piensas? Es cuando tienes intención de. It doesn't require a thinking process. So in English we don't say ¿cuándo piensas llamarle? No se dice en inglés when do you think to call him? Eso lo he oído mil veces, but we say when do you plan to call him? When are you planning to call him? Or when do you intend to call him? The verb to intend no significa intentar, significa tener intención de. When do you intend to call him? ¿O cuándo piensas llamarle? I intend to call him when this class is over. I plan to call him when this class is over. I am planning to call him. Con el verbo to plan nos vale el presente habitual o el presente continuo. I'm planning to call him when this class is over. E incluso, si queremos rizar el rizo, I'm planning on calling him. I plan on calling him, con on calling en vez de to call. Si queremos que se nos queme el fusible, os doy 5 o 10 alternativas. But that's not necessary. For speaking, for your spoken English, I recommend I plan to call him. When do you plan to call him? I plan to call him after this class. I'm going to call him after this class. Es más categórico todavía. Voy a llamarle después de la clase. I'm going to call him after the class. Es mi intención cerrada y garantizada y segura. I'm going to call him. I'm planning to call him es mi plan. I'm planning to call him after this class. ¿A quién les va a recoger en el aeropuerto? Who's going to pick them up? Are you going to pick them up? I'm not going to pick them up. Are you going to pick them up? Them up, up. Pick them up. Pick them up. Recogerles. Si se me caen dos objetos, los recojo. If I drop the pen and the microphone, woof, my God, I pick them up. And if you and your friend are at the airport and you need some help, I'll gladly, con mucho gusto. Gladly no significa alegremente. It means con mucho gusto. I will gladly drive to the airport, even though it's quite far from here. I'll gladly drive to the airport and pick you up. And pick you up, or to pick you up. Okay, recogeros. I'll pick you up. And if your friend, Mr. Perez, arrives at the airport and needs some help, I'll gladly drive to the airport to pick him up. To pick him up. Fijaos como enlazo. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Con ese objeto. Pick him up. La M manda. Pick him up. Si es ella, pick her up. Si son ellos, pick them up. Si soy yo, pick me up. I'm waiting for you to come to the airport to pick me up. Necesito que alguien me recoja. I need somebody to pick me up. Okay. ¿Cuándo vas a recogerlos? When are you going to pick them up? ¿Quién los va a recoger? Who is going to pick them up? No vas a alcanzar tu potencial, lo siento. You're not going to reach your potential. Very few people reach their potential. Probably nobody in the history of the world has reached their potential. Fijaos, acabo de usar la palabra nobody, que es tercera persona en singular, y luego he usado el adjetivo posesivo there, que es tercera persona del plural. Repito, probably in history, nobody has reached their potential. Nadie jamás ha alcanzado su potencial. Nobody has reached there. ¿Por qué digo there? Es un error gramatical, y lo es. Sin embargo, utilizamos esto para evitar, dentro de lo correcto, ser pesado. Para decir lo correcto, según un purista gramatical, nobody in history has reached his or her potential. Antiguamente, his or he también cubría a mujeres. Se hubiera dicho hace 2 siglos, nobody in history has reached his potential. Y se entiende que se incluyen mujeres como Juana de Arco, okay? Her potential. Now, to be politically correct, we say nobody has reached his or her potential. But that's not very comfortable in English. So we say nobody has reached their potential in history. I'm not sure. I think Napoleon Bonaparte reached his potential. I think he went beyond his potential, and that's why he failed. He tried to do too many things, and he went beyond. Se fue más allá de su potencial. As a leader, as a person, as a general, as a military strategist and tactician, as an organizer of government, I think he swallowed too much. In fact, he put too much into his mouth and he couldn't swallow it all. But he lasted for 15 years, really for 17 years, because in 1798 is when he started to make a strong impact on French culture, history, and government. And it lasted until Waterloo in 1815. 17 years as the major force in influencing European and basically world history was Napoleon Bonaparte. And if you read his childhood and adolescence and early adult life, he didn't seem like a person necessarily destined to have such a strong impact on European and world history. He didn't seem like the type of person, physically, intellectually, but apparently he was. But that's an interesting debate. Did Napoleon reach his potential? Did he go beyond his potential? Most people never reach their potential. La mayoría de la gente no alcanza su potencial jamás. I'm sure I haven't reached my potential, and I'm sure you haven't reached your potential. Do you know your potential? ¿Eres consciente de tu potencial? Are you aware of your potential? Okay. It would be a good exercise to try to do some introspective thinking and try to reach some conclusions about your potential, okay? And to realize what your potential is, and then to try to act accordingly, okay, to your potential. What is your potential? Are you capable, for example, of learning English well? Are you capable of reaching high positions in professional life? Are you capable of being happy in the rest of your life and the people around you happy as well? It's not easy. Most people never reach their potential. Patton, el famoso Patton, the American general in the Second World War, in the European theater, Patton was a man who was especially fond of reading history. And he read the history of Genghis Khan, the Mongol, Julius Caesar, the Roman, Alexander the Great, the Macedonian, everybody, all of the great generals. And so he was very aware of his abilities compared to others and of reaching his potential. When he died, el pobre, he died only a few weeks after the end of the Second World War in a Jeep accident. Accidente de Jeep, el pobre. He was a general in the middle of the fire, very dangerous job, and he died in a traffic accident, well, a Jeep accident, a few weeks after the war ended. And he went to heaven. And he went to the gates of heaven, the pearly gates, esas puertas de perlas. And there was St. Peter, San Pedro. St. Peter was at the gate saying, next. And St. Peter looked, you look familiar. And he says, well, of course, my name is General Patton. I'm the best general. Oh, Patton, yes. Yeah, you were general. You died in a Jeep accident a few days ago, right? I said, yes. Well, Mr. Patton, apparently, por lo visto, apparently you have been relatively good in life, and you will be admitted into heaven. So, I need your full name, please. Su nombre completo. Okay. So Patton gave St. Peter the necessary information for admission to heaven. But before he went in, before he crossed the threshold, el umbral, into heaven, he said, excuse me, St. Peter. Yes? Listen, I have a question. There are a lot of people waiting. Just one question. Do you mind? What? Tell me, St. Peter, who was the greatest general in history? ¿Quién fue el general más grande de la historia? And St. Peter said, oh, that's easy. A shoemaker in the south of Italy who lived in a period of history in which there were no wars. So St. Peter told our friend, the megalomaniac, Patton, General Patton, that the greatest general in history was a shoemaker, un zapatero, in the south of Italy, who never fought in any battle because he lived in a century in which there were no wars. So for St. Peter, the greatest general in history was potentially the greatest, but he never developed his potential because he didn't grow up in the right environment. You. Are you the greatest general in history in the future? Are you the greatest English speaker in history? It depends partially on the environment, but it depends also on you, okay? On you and your determination, your willpower, Voluntad, and on many other aspects that only pertain to you. Okay. Break time. It's time. Te doy 5 minutos, eh? Aquí otra vez, eh? I want you back in 5 minutes.